All right, thank you. Welcome, everybody, far and near and far. This is the update to the Psycho Micro. This is Kelly from the future that didn't film the intro bit for the rest of the videos. So, since then, the frame arm broke, but I do have, I've got two of them, new arms. So I'm gonna build that, but I wanted to put this video out first, and the video should explain these. So thanks for coming. Like, subscribe. You can check out www.skydance.com. That is my commercial drone photography and video. Ooh, and I got these little arm race wires for micros from Gnarly FPV. I'm gonna put those on there too on the damn fast frame. So, all right, on with the video. For Christmas, I got a really neat little gift. This is the Wow Stick screwdriver. Comes with like 65 different bits. It will torque stuff down, unlike the ES21, as far as I read anyways. So I like it. Its stand doesn't come with a charger. It's just kind of like a holder for it. So but for 40 bucks, it's well worth it. I think the bits are almost worth it alone. It literally comes with every bit you can imagine. And for working on quads, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3 are the important ones, and it definitely comes with that. So, let's talk about frames. Originally, I was on the 100HX. Too flimsy, although I like the end of the arm design. Just too thin. The 100HX quad itself is set up to run on 2 or 3S. They're 1103s. It's a pretty good little quad, but wasn't fast enough for me. So, saw the video about the Psycho Micro and talked about that problem with the HX100 frame. So the next frame I went to was the HX115, and this frame is just rock solid. It's really thick. I don't have a micrometer. I think they're rated at 4 millimeters. It seems like 4.5 to me. I had it, I think I flew it like 6 times on this frame. Off Amazon, you can't order a single one. It comes in a 2-pack, and it comes in a gloss. This is the original gloss coat, and then a matte one, but I of course conformal coated it for 2 reasons. One, for durability, because it helps if you do scuff something. It will take the conformal off first instead of breaking down the frame. 2, the conformal, when it's coated, it doesn't connect electricity, and if you know anything about this, you know that a carbon fiber frame will conduct electricity. So there you go, you learned something today. This frame was okay as far as running my setup on it, but I don't like the way they isolated the motors at the end of these arms. And you've seen the space that I have to fly in. It's not much. I think I'm an okay pilot. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give myself a 4 or a 5. I'm not that great, and I do bump into the side of the house, my car a couple times, poor thing, trees and stuff like that. So if you whack something and you've got a motor mounted at the end of this, and most of the micro motors will extend over this mount, which means the bell is exposed. So when you smack that bell, it's going to bend your motor shaft. That is why I did not like this frame. So through another YouTube channel, I had heard about a frame called the Damn Fast. And this is the 108 millimeter version of the Damn Fast, or was. So the great thing, one of the great things about the Damn Fast frames, that's 108 millimeter version. We'll talk about that in a second. But you can, if you snap an arm, which I did yesterday because it was 18 degrees and my quad was in my car all day, and I wanted to fly when I got off of work at about 3 o'clock, and I cut the motors at the wrong spot. I don't know exactly why. I thought I was just maybe like stopping there, but it hit the asphalt and cracked the arm off. I don't think it's the frame's fault. I think it really had to do with the cold, but that's the good thing about this frame, is you don't have to buy a whole frame. You can just order from him. You can just order one half of the frame. It's the first good thing about the frames from Damn Fast. And these arms are skinny, but this is, it's fairly stiff. I don't find that it flex that much. So the second good thing about the frame is that the rear motors are offset. Now, when I first went to the website and I read the little description, it said that it was supposed to provide the rear motors with cleaner air, because the front motors create turbulent air, and this is what we call prop wash. The turbulent air coming off the front motors, and the rear motors trying to use that air to produce thrust. So this frame is offset 3 millimeters in the rear, and I thought, you know what, 13 bucks, I'll try it, what the heck. And the first time I flew this one, and I had the GEP RC 1206s on it, and we'll talk about that eventually. But the first time I flew it, I was just like, oh my God. They just fly really, really well. I don't know, and I don't hear a lot of prop wash, but it's different. I think that the idea behind it and the science behind it is real. These things fly very, very well. They fly damn well, actually. So this is the the little one's 108. This is the 120 motor to motor post. The little one weighs 6.5 or like 6.4, and the big one, the 120, which he calls the little yeet, I think weighs somewhere around 8 grams. So that's information, a little bit of info and update about the frame game. Next we're going to talk about motors. So before I go into talking about motors, one thing that I learned through this process about micro motors lately is a lot of them, depending on where you get them from, are only selling them in sets of 4. Like a lot of the iFlights, you know, they sell them in sets of 4. Some of the models you can get, or some of the sizes you can get individually. But when they first came out, the Beta FPV 1204s, the blue ones, which is the first motor that I started working with here, they were only available in a set of 4. And I ended up busting one, something to do with the wire and around the bottom, connecting to the stator. So I needed a replacement. Well, Amazon only sells sets of 4. You can get singles from Beta FPV or Get FPV now, and I just saw singles listed like 2 days ago on Get FPV. Originally, when they first got their first shipment of them, they were only selling them in sets of 4, and they sold out very quickly. So that's something to keep in mind, guys, when you're choosing micro motors, is make sure you can get individual versions of them, or when you buy them, if there are individual versions, if you can afford it, you might want to get 5 just so that you have a backup. So, alright, so talking about these motors on here. What in the heck are these? Saw these posted on RDQ a little over a week ago. They are Flywoo. Love saying it. I don't know what it is about it, but Flywoo. Yep. Anyways, Flywoo Robo RB 1202.5. They're about $10 a piece. They were cheaper, on the cheaper end, compared to the Beta FPV 1204s, which definitely have a thicker bell than anything I've seen lately, and considerably cheaper than the Gep RC or SpeedX 1206s. But back to these. So I saw them a little over a week ago on RDQ, and didn't buy them right away. Thought I'd dig into it, learned enough about it that I know not to buy something off of impulse with this shit. So what's the deal with these things? Well, titanium shaft, curved magnets, NSK bearings, 3.8 grams with a short wire. I have the wires cut about to the middle of the board on these, and I think they're weighing 4.2 grams. The quad weighs with these. Let's take it to the scale and see what we get here. Number. Okay. So without props, 45 grams. I think it's 52 with props. What I have on here right now is the Spectrum 4650 receiver, their new serial race telemetry receiver. Had some problems getting full telemetry on a couple of my quads, but I have it now, and it is great because my main thing is seeing battery voltage. I'm very finicky about my LiPo life and stopping at the right time with battery voltage. I know a lot of you FPV guys are just going to say, well, it's on the OSD. Well, do you see any camera on this thing? No. I'm flying line of sight right now. It's my main thing. That's what I like doing, and I'll leave it at that. Back to the motors. So they're 2mm shafts, and right now they only make a tri-blade prop and a bi-blade prop that has a 2mm hole. These are Gemfran Hurricane 3016, and hopefully you can see it. I know that there we go. You can see it in the light. Kind of like the ripple and the plastic in these. So these are more like the HQs as far as material. They're pretty stiff, guys. I'm liking them so far. And when I looked into buying these motors, I wanted to take out some of my micro prop 1.5. I've got all kinds of crazy micro props, but they're all 1.5 millimeter shafts, and I thought, well, maybe I could drill it out too. I've heard of people doing that. Aaron at Damn Fast mentioned it, that's what he did, because the Amino Max motors, or whatever they are, that Kebab FPV, when he started this whole thing, they were the original motors they were going to use, but they're 2 millimeter shaft. So I don't think there is a lot of plastic to drill out there, guys. I think if I got this to 2 millimeters and I bumped into the house, it's going to snap the inside of that hub like in a heartbeat. So, I still got the motors because they're super lightweight. I have flown it tonight. I just finished wiring these on here and soldering them. And, might I add you that one looks pretty good. But anyways, I've got 6 sets of these. RDQ has them. They've got a bi-blade and they've got a tri-blade. These motors are ultra quiet, smooth, not very powerful. I think their max thrust is like 220 grams. That's what their marketing says. But it flew really well on these guys. Very controllable, very quiet with the props on. If you flew it in a park and you were 30 or 40 feet away from somebody, I don't know if they'd even much less hear it. Yeah, it's very unintrusive. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this thing up to Betaflight, and that's why the batteries are sitting there. We're going to plug in a battery, and we're going to show you how quiet these flywoos are. Alright guys, I'm plugged into Betaflight, and let me connect here and get into the motors tab. Okay, so I'm gonna do like 1250. I'm gonna try and get there. Oh, that's 1159. So, yeah, quiet. That's 1068 for throttle. Can barely even hear them running. Really smooth. Same thing with the props on. Very quiet. Let me get back to the performance of the motors and the setup. It's running JESC firmware and doing RPM filtering. I've got low PID numbers. Tonight I just flew it in my yard. It was in the dark. I do have the LEDs, tiny LED, micro LEDs up front, so I can see orientation. Daytime or night, it does wonders for a line of sight. So I haven't had it really opened up yet. I kind of opened her up a little bit, but very controllable. And these are 3-inch bi-blades, and the 120 millimeter little Yeet frame. I don't know how big I can go with the prop yet. I don't think it'll take 4 inches, but I'm almost 100% sure it'll take 3.1, and HQ makes some quad blade for 3.1s that I want to try. But the 108 millimeter, believe it or not, I mean, this thing looks tiny, but it will accept a 3-inch prop. There's only about 2 millimeters in between the tips if you you know, check your prop clearance. But yeah, it'll run 3-inch props. I had, going back to motors, I had just had these on there, the Gap RC SpedX 1206 6000 kV. They're very beasty. They're a little heavy though. They weigh double the weight of the Flywoos, but I had them on 3-inch HQ T-mount bi-blades, and it rips. It's really fast. I like one of the things about this motor. They're expensive, by the way. They're like 17 bucks a piece off Amazon, which is outrageous for a micro motor, but they are high quality. They are very well made. They are very smooth, and they've got this design with where the wires go in, you know, to the bottom of the motor, that kind of secures it or prevents it from like pulling out on you, or something in that nature. Some of these micro motors, and that's what I had problems with the Beta FPV 1204, is when they connect up to the stator. I mean, some of them are just really tiny and fragile, so you have to be careful. Going back to availability, about the Flywoos, they're no longer available. They're already sold out. I think they're sold out like as of yesterday. When I got them today, I'm like, man, maybe I should just sell them. But I didn't. I opened them up. I ordered 5. I have 1 extra. I think they're gonna do well. I like how the quad flies, how quiet it is. It's not a super monster yet, but like I said, I still haven't opened it up yet. And then maybe I'll go back to the Gap RC 1206s. Maybe I won't, but when I get the frame back and running, that is what's going on there. Before I do that, one more thing about the Gap RCs. And this motor was bench tested by someone with a 3-inch prop, 4S voltage, gem fan, not sure the exact specifics, but it was a tri-blade, and it produced like 420 grams of thrust. So these are little beasts, but they will eat your battery like no tomorrow. So what I've already noticed about the Flywoos is they're extremely efficient. So on to showing you what they run like. I have to say, for design, that these Flywoos are just they're sick. They look like Vossen wheels, like the mesh wheels on some of the bagged Audis station wagons, you know. Let me show you something similar here, which this quad is currently for sale on eBay. Look at Dell's Realtor if you want to see it. But yeah, little similarity there, huh? But it is a cool design. It looks killer, which looks aren't everything, but so far so good with the rest of these motors. A little bit questionable on durability, but the shaft is thick, and they sit low, and hopefully we will not bend mounts with these. Alright guys, there was a lot of mistakes and certain things in the videos, but I'm not going to refilm it. This is a couple days later after I made those clips, and I love the damn fast frame. I'm staying with it. It can be a little brittle, but I'm sure you guys have been thinking I break a lot of stuff, and I do. I think anybody does that does this hobby. But if you watch my other video, you'll see the amount of space that I kind of have in the fly, and it can get out of hand real quickly if you try and start ripping pretty hard. So the new toothpick V2 arms that I got that Aaron sent me, I think are a little bit thicker. They seem like it, and he communicates easily, fills orders really quickly. I always get my stuff really quickly. He's kind of close to me, only like a state or two away, but I think it's a great frame. The Flywoo Robos, God, I'm still having to make up my mind about it. What do you think, Becca? Gap RC 1206 or Flywoo Robo 1202.5? Becca. So anyways, that's the end of this, guys. I gotta get back to making something of this mess. My work area is a mess. It's been snowing, and that's my part-time job, is to take care of properties, etc. So try and fit this stuff in when I can. Flight footage when this gets done. Stay posted for part 3 and some flight footage in an area where I have room to open it up. So thank you for watching. Bye.